Cindy, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. What are you expecting from the meetings this week?
Well, I'm not sure, actually. I'll be watching like many of your viewers, because I'm hoping that we're going to see the provincial and territorial commitment to implementing Jordan's principle. And I hope that we see the federal government absolutely committing to compliance on the tribunal's orders and for full commitment to the Spirit Bear plan, so we can eliminate all the inequalities that First Nations children, youth, and families experience. But I've looked at the draft agenda, and I'm not sure how those things are going to be achieved given the agenda, the way it's structured.
You've also expressed some concerns that premiers and ministers won't be on hand for the meeting. Why is that something to worry about?
Because when we think about the reasons that First Nations kids go into care, it's poverty, poor housing, addictions related to the multi-generational trauma of residential schools. So that goes further than just the Child and Family Service Ministries. We really need the premiers to embrace something akin to the Spirit Bear plan at a provincial and territorial level, working with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit governments to make sure that those services respond to the kids' needs.
Minister Philpott has referred to the child welfare system as a humanitarian crisis. So are you expecting that there'll be some kind of federal government action that comes out this week?
Well, I certainly hope so. I've always measured the well-being of children as being our gauge versus announcements by any government. It really should be about whether on Saturday change has happened for kids that makes it more able for them to live the lives they wish to have.
The gathering will fall on the anniversary of the ruling by the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. What are your thoughts on that, given that this meeting was announced months ago? It could have been held at any other time.
Well, I think in some ways it's proper that it's held on that day. It'll be 2 years since the tribunal handed down that decision that said that Canada was to immediately cease its discrimination. It hasn't done so. There's been 3 other non-compliance orders and another one pending. There's been some progress on Jordan's principle, which is good, but more work needs to be done. And I think that having the meeting on this day really reminds all of us that we need to speak up. We need to make sure that those in power know that First Nations kids matter and they shouldn't have to wait any longer.
Cindy, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Dennis.